extended periods of time. Not only are we dealing with those dropping temperatures, but it is that constant
Okay, start by
force.
switching our microphone
We talked to
to
Jennifer Brown this morning, well into the afternoon, who said
right
really
after
it's an absolute
person.
disaster. They gave big kudos to the plow crews as well as the city crews and ODOT who've been working around the clock to keep everyone safe. But they say
Patricia, you need to mute John.
Okay. So yeah, hello everyone. It's nice meeting all of you today. It's nice seeing everyone here. And you're welcome to Awakening with Nathan Crane. And right now, I'm going to...
Come on, baby.
Okay. I'm going to give a brief introduction about Nathan Crane before he comes in.
Mute Karen's phone.
Actually, yeah, if there's if you're unmuted now, you could mute yourself, and then we will have a chance for people to chime in. If there's any background noise, maybe it'd be good to mute yourself. Patricia, you can also mute people if there's too much background noise. We do want to hear from people today, though, so let's just be mindful if we have background noise going on. But I'll hand it back to you, Patricia. Go ahead.
All right. All right, welcome to Awakening with Nathan Crane. So I'll be honored to introduce Nathan. He is a best-selling author, an award-winning filmmaker, a holistic health professional, and a certified breathwork and meditation teacher. With over 20 years of experience in holistic health and spiritual practice, he brings a fresh and dynamic approach to helping people awaken their highest potential and experience greater clarity, health, purpose, and happiness. Nathan is a global humanitarian serving impoverished communities and the founder of multiple successful organizations that have helped over 3 million people around the world. Nathan's newest book, The Search for the Sacred, a journey from suffering and addiction to healing and awakening, and his newest masterclass, The Happiness Method, shares profound insights and practical solutions steeped in ancient wisdom, backed by modern science for living an extraordinary life. As part of his commitment to the awakening of humanity, Nathan volunteers for the Art of Living Foundation, a global education nonprofit bringing ancient Vedic wisdom, breathwork, and meditation to millions, helping them overcome stress, trauma, and anxiety while building strength and resilience among individual communities and societies. Throughout his career, he has received significant recognition for his educational and empowering work. Notable honors include the accolade 2020 Outstanding Achievement Humanitarian Award and the Outstanding Community Service Award from the California Senate. A sought after inspirational speaker, Nathan has become a trusted voice in holistic health and spiritual wisdom, helping individuals unlock their highest potential through holistic lifestyle practices. His organization, the Global Happiness Project, is committed to sharing peace, health, and happiness globally. So I'm very excited to welcome Nathan Crane to today's session.
Patricia, thank you so much for that warm welcome, and so nice to see all of you joining here from around the world. Let us know where you're joining in from, actually. If you can chat in where you're joining in from, down below on your Zoom tab, there should be a little thing you can click chat. Love to know where everybody's joining us. I know we have a community around the world from so many different countries. Love to know where people are joining in from. So chat in where you're joining in from, and also maybe one reason that brought you to today's class. What's one thing that brought you to today's session? What are you looking to get out of this? You know, this is called From Surviving to Thriving. And the reason I wanted to do this today is because so often we set New Year's intentions, we get a lot of New Year hype going on, there's a lot of like energy and momentum to change our lives and do something good, and yet most New Year's resolutions don't make it past February. In fact, 80%, according to studies, don't get past February. It's also interesting timing of the year because in the actual timing of the seasons, we're not in a season where, you know, doing a lot of work and starting new things and putting a lot of effort into creating new things. It's not really the season of nature that we're in, right? In certainly here in the Northern Hemisphere, for example, we are in winter, which is a time to go deep, to go within, to deepen our roots within, and maybe think about things we're grateful for or some lessons that we've learned over the year. And so we're kind of out of tune with nature a little bit, with the seasons of the new year, but at the same time, it can still be a great time with the energy around the new year to set some intentions, to think about, you know, what do we really want to create for our lives, for our health, for our well-being. And so I wanted to really go deep today into around this idea of like getting out of survival mode into thriving. So let me know what brought you here. What's something you're looking to get out of today's class? It's going to be very interactive as well. So, you know, if you're on video, I'd love to see you. When you have questions or chiming in, you can actually come off, unmute yourself, and maybe, you know, share. And then if there's background noise, you can mute back up. But you can also chat. And so let me just read some here. So we've got from Florida, hey Janet, Rosanna from North Carolina, Sylvie from Quebec, South Africa, Wisconsin, Jacksonville, North Carolina. Hear from my son who deals with chronic stress. I want to help him. Beautiful. North Carolina, Calgary, Northern California, Illinois, Cheryl, hey. Canada, healing inflammation after cancer. Beautiful. California, Brazil, Quebec, Michigan, Missouri, Sarasota. Hello from Jekyll Island, Georgia. Hey, Karen. Melanie in Ontario. I'm here as I'm struggling with healing chronic pain despite having tried many things. Winnipeg. How do you lower oxidative stress and internal inflammation, healing after surgery, inflammation and poor sleep, anxiety, a way to switch off when I'm meant to be with my family, bring balance to limbic system, improving sleep, calm my nervous system. Kevin from Oklahoma, hey, beautiful. Good. So it's exactly everything we're going to cover today. So you're all in the right place for sure. We're going to get into all of that. And so a few things here over the next 75 minutes or so together is I'd love for you to, number one, if you're willing to make a commitment to really focus, because I'm going to give you a lot of very powerful information, both steeped in ancient wisdom backed by modern science that can support you in all these things that you just put in the chat. Inflammation, dealing with chronic diseases like cancer, stress, anxiety, overwhelm, mystery symptoms, mystery diseases, chronic pain, sleep, all these things will be addressed backed by science in today's session. So I'd love for you to really, hone in, turn off distractions, focus in here with us. And I'm actually going to take you through an experience. We're not only going to talk about it, but later on, I'm going to take you through an experience where you can actually feel what we're talking about, and have a tool that you can take back into your daily life to support you ongoing. How's that sound? So as we get into a little bit here, over the last 20 years of research and experimentation in my own life as both a holistic health professional, seeker in spirituality, somebody who dealt with my own health issues and seeking solutions, I discovered what I come to call the missing link to most people's healing, and why so many people have trouble healing even when they're trying everything. And in addition, this missing link allows you to have more peace, more calm, more clarity, more health and happiness. And it's all interrelated together, and yet most people don't realize this is the essential foundation that we need if we want to heal and thrive. And so if your goal for 2026, maybe you can put in the chat, if you do have any goals with your health, for example, for 2026, if your goal is to maybe overcome some fear, some worry, some doubt, isolation, loneliness, maybe if you're struggling, maybe if you feel like you're in survival mode, and you want to get out of that and just have more energy, have more vitality, feel better in your own body, have more peace in your life. If yes, please type in the chat that that's what you're looking for this year, and not dealing with the New Year pressure, New Year's resolutions of like, oh, I have to do, and then you go a few weeks in, you set a new goal. I'm not going to eat sugar for the next year, or no processed sugar, and then 2 weeks in you're having sugar, and then you feel down on yourself, right? And that causes more stress, and that actually adds to the problem. Or you say, I'm going to go to the gym every day, 5 days a week or 7 days a week, and then come February you're not going to the gym anymore. You're in the same situation you were. How many of you started the year with a New Year's resolution, and now, let's be honest, by January 15th you have already fallen back on that New Year's resolution? If you're on video, you can just raise your hand. You can just show me like this. I can see you guys on video. If you've already set New Year's resolution, you've already gone back on it. Yeah, thank you. I see those of you who are very honest here. Thank you. And that's okay. This is not about blame or shame. And in fact, it's accepting our humanness. And there's a reason why. There's a reason why our New Year's resolutions fail. You know why? Number one, they're not clear enough. We don't have a strong enough reason why. If we don't have the clarity and the deeper reason why, it's ultimately going to fail. But let's say you have a really strong reason and it's very clear what you want. Then what gets in the way? Anybody know? Subconscious beliefs. Subconscious beliefs that return to old patterns of behavior. And so you're going to be as clear as you want. You can have as much discipline as you want. But if you don't address the underlying subconscious beliefs and the limiting beliefs that are causing that behavior, it's going to come back automatically, right? Who's had that experience? Exactly. And the third reason is you don't have the right support and the right strategies in place to overcome those limiting beliefs and to then implement new habits that stick. So, when you have a goal, it might be a goal for your health. I want to overcome cancer, or I want to feel better. I don't want to be in pain anymore. Or I want to sleep better. Or I want to have better digestion. Or, I want to overcome this diabetes. Or I just want to feel better in my own body, be happier, have more joy, have more peace, contentment, feel safe in my own body, not feel like it's such a struggle every single day. Who feels like when you wake up every day, it just feels like a struggle? Yeah, I see you raising your hands. Yes, right? It's just like a struggle to get out of bed. It's a struggle to be in your body. It's a struggle to deal with the pains and the problems and the challenges. And maybe you just don't want that struggle anymore. And the problem is when we have these underlying subconscious patterns, in the ancient texts from India, they're called samskaras, which means impressions. Impressions are when we have strong beliefs, strong thoughts combined with emotions that get lodged into our subconscious, then that dictates our behavior. And so we're going to get into some very powerful psychological understandings, backed by science, as well as some tools and some strategies to start getting at the underlying root of some of these things. But once we do, then when your goal is clear and you're headed in that direction and you've got some habits and some strategies, then things just start to click. But as long as those impressions are there, honestly, it's very, very difficult, almost impossible until we remove those impressions. Does that make sense? So we'll get more into that later. How many of you have felt exhausted with your health or with your life, with just doing so many protocols this past year? You done a lot of protocols? Yeah. Melanie, I see you raising your hand. Yes. Right? Lots of protocols, lots of supplements, lots of diet shifts, lots of change. Just feeling exhausted. Who feels exhausted? Recognizing that's an important step to being able to overcome it. Now, the reality is you're not lazy. You're not broken. You might feel tired or exhausted from surviving. If you feel depleted, if you feel anxious, you feel foggy, you feel disconnected, know this, nothing is wrong with you. You've been running a survival-based program, survival-based operating system in your nervous system in a world that's constantly triggering threat, constantly making your nervous system feel like it's under attack. And if you've tried everything to heal, you've been trying lots of protocols, you've tried diets, you've tried supplements, you've tried red light therapy, you've tried so many things, and maybe you've seen some results, maybe you haven't, maybe you just feel like you're on a hamster wheel. It's because your body is almost guaranteed stuck in survival mode. If you feel like you've been, at this for quite a while and it just seems like it's a struggle and you're like, man, what? Why do I still have this thing? Why do I still have this pain? Why do I still have this issue? I'm trying lots of different things. Who feels like that? Raise your hand. You've been trying lots and lots of different things, but you feel like you're just not making a lot of progress, right? Yes, I see you raising your hands. Like or maybe a little bit of progress, but not fast enough, right? It seems very slow, very challenging. And I see a lot of you on here that don't have your videos on. If you want to turn on your video so we can see you and participate, that would be amazing. Love to see more of you here on video. But yeah, or you can chat. If you don't want to be on video, you can chat too. Yeah, so I see, yep, all of the above. Rick says yes. Carolina, me, yes. Lots of protocols, yes. Good, so I'll come back and read the chat here as well. Like I said, I'd rather this be interactive. It's not just me teaching to you. We're doing this together, coaching you through this together to find solutions together. So it's because your body's most likely stuck in survival mode, and I've seen it again and again and again and again with the thousands of people I've worked with over the years. And so what is survival mode? Let me tell you what it looked like for me in my body. My body wouldn't heal even though I was doing everything right. I was pushing my body further than it could handle, and I was tearing muscles, I was tearing ligaments, I was tearing tendons. I would wake up in chronic pain in all my joints. I was doing sometimes 30, 40 supplements a day, red light therapy, sauna, ice baths, 8 hours of sleep every night. I was doing PEMF, pulse electromagnetic frequency. I was doing a device that had gemstones in it with PEMF, with red light therapy, with infrared. I'm trying to remember what the name of that device is called. It had everything. I was doing that at night. I was doing all of these protocols every single day. 100% plant-based diet, 99% plus organic, very clean, juice every single day, smoothies, you name it. Like all the protocols we've taught in all my cancer programs over the years that have helped a lot of people. And yet, my body was still not healing and in fact getting worse. And I'd have low energy and I would tear things and new conditions would arise like skin issues and wouldn't go away. How many can relate? Seems like you're doing everything, but you're still having issues come up or even new issues come up. Yeah, I see many of you raising your hand, absolutely. And here's what happens. Here's what I discovered. Like many of the clients I've worked with, my own body was in survival mode. It was in this survival mode where it couldn't repair itself no matter what I was doing, or was having a very, very hard time. So here's what survival mode actually is. It's biology. It's not a weakness. You're not weak. You're not missing something. Your body's not failing you. It's in survival mode and it's biology. It's actually trying to protect you. And we'll get into what that means. Common signs of survival mode are this. Chronic stress. If you have chronic stress, type it in the chat. Constant vigilance, meaning worry, fear, lots of doubts. Emotional reactivity. You get reactive to things that people say or do pretty easily. Overthinking. You have a lot of thinking, overthinking things. And what about this and what about that? And but I got to do this, but then I can't do that. Having a hard time making decisions. Anybody have that? People pleasing. Trying to do everything to please people, or the opposite, withdrawing into yourself, like not wanting to be around people. And just like feeling like just to get through the day. You just the energy of like, I just have to get through today, right? Yeah. Liana says, oh my, yes. Were you praying? Yes, of course I was praying. I pray every day. Meditating, all of it. And yes, all of these things. So these are some of the common signs. There's many more, but here's the key takeaway for today, and you could write this down. Your nervous system was never designed for non-stop stimulation, uncertainty, constant bad news, and emotional overload. We're not used to that. Our nervous system is not used to uncertain, constant stimulation, uncertainty, constant bad news, emotional overload, like we're seeing today from the media, the social media, the life, this intense modern life we live in. We're not trained on how to, it doesn't mean your nervous system can't handle it. Absolutely it can. That's what I'm going to show you how to do. We're not going to get rid of these things. We're going to help you retrain your nervous system so that you can handle these things with significantly much more ease and grace. But we're not trained as human beings. We don't know. Our nervous system is not trained how to deal with this constant influx of what feels like a threat to us. And so this is why survival mode kind of became normal in our modern society. Digital overload, chronic illness. We get used to it because we get chronically ill, and that becomes normal, a standard. Oh, that's normal as I age to get cancer, diabetes, heart disease, which it's not your natural state. But it happens because of what we're talking about here. Financial pressure, social isolation, traumas, big traumas, even small traumas, and unprocessed grief. So these things, this is why survival kind of feels like part of a normal life, which when you get out of it, it's like you get a whole new life. People look at me every time they see me, they're like, you're younger than last time I saw you. What do you do? I'm telling you, this stuff works. It makes you more youthful, younger, energetically, internally, emotionally, and physically. When you're in survival mode, you age faster. When you get out of survival mode, your body stops aging as fast. And so this is what I call the missing link. Most people are trying to heal and grow and plan for their future from a nervous system that still thinks it's under threat. But the missing link here to why people are not healing and why healing stalls or even worsens when you think you're doing everything right is because we're stuck in a state of sympathetic overdrive. And I'll talk about what that is, and we'll get into the science behind this and what you can do. But there's a lot of studies that prove this. Psychological stress, there's a review, a rigorous review of clinical and experimental studies that when they looked at psychological stress and how it affects wound healing, if you have a serious wound, for example, how when you're under stress, that activates your sympathetic nervous system and it prevents your body from healing that wound. It can delay it up to 40% slower for a basic wound, just having some psychological stress going on, because it's impacting your HPA axis in your sympathetic nervous system. I'll show you a graphic here in a little bit that I created for you. And we know that just wound healing, well, guess what? When you have a chronic disease, like cancer, or you're dealing with chronic pain, or you have Lyme disease, or you have any other chronic health condition that requires a massive amount of energy. When you're dealing with these chronic health conditions, your body needs a massive amount of energy to heal. And when you're in this survival state, you're in this sympathetic overdrive state, all of your energy is going towards being in sympathetic, and it's not going towards healing. And that's why we have hard time healing. That's why when you're in a sympathetic state and they look at wound healing, it can be 40% slower just for a wound. Well, a wound is nothing compared to, cancer, heart disease, or diabetes, or autoimmune disease, or any of these other things. So we need a lot of our energy for the body to heal. And actually, there's a beautiful thing that I'll teach you today to turn on your nervous system to go into healing mode. But we have to retrain it, and it takes some time and some practice. I'll give you a little experience today to start implementing it, but it will take some time and some practice over time. But with that and with the right tools, you'll be able to take back control of your nervous system, get it out of this sympathetic fight or flight and into a state of what I call parasympathetic mastery. Para means above, okay? Sympathetic means, you can think of sympathetic as fight or flight or freeze. Parasympathetic means above that. You're transcending it. You're going beyond it and above it. So parasympathetic mastery means you become a master of activating your own healing, rejuvenation within the body. That's what parasympathetic is. And actually, let me show my screen here. And I made this graphic for you guys so you can see the difference between sympathetic and parasympathetic. See if I can, we'll just leave it like this, it's fine. So can you guys see this okay? Yeah, okay. So the autonomic nervous system, who's heard of the ANS, autonomic nervous system? Probably a lot of you, yep. So our ANS, our autonomic nervous system, is the nervous system responsible for digestion, metabolism, immune function, repair, healing, growth, safety, etc. On the left side, we could talk about the SNS, which is sympathetic nervous system. On the right side is PNS, parasympathetic nervous system. SNS, PNS for short. The left side, I like to think of the SNS or the sympathetic as fire. Fire's not bad, but too much fire is going to burn you, right? So the SNS is like fight, flight, or freeze. That's what you need when you're in a life or death situation, or you need some intensity for a short burst of time. What it does is it increases your stress hormones, it increases heart rate and blood pressure, dilates your pupils, dilates your airways, releases adrenaline, norepinephrine, cortisol, creates sweating in the body. And here's the key, it stops digestion, it stops immune function, and it stops healing. So every time your SNS, which is a fight or flight or freeze response, is activated, it stops the things your body needs to do to heal and repair itself. And every single time you get activated by an intense conversation, you get activated, you get reactive by a bill that you read, by media that you watch, by a car that cuts you off, by so many situations in day-to-day life. It can take 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes, up to an hour even, for your body to get out of that sympathetic response when you don't know how to train your nervous system. So most people are living in this fire state all day long, and the only time they get out of it is when they sleep, but their sleep is poor, so they're still not getting fully out of it. So you're in this survival mode and you don't even realize it. Your body can't heal itself. So we go over to the PNS. Sorry, that sounded a little bit close to something else I didn't mean to say, but the parasympathetic is like water. Water is very fluid, it's smooth, it can be very gentle. If I think of water coming down a gentle stream or a brook, for example, this is your rest, digest, and healing state of your nervous system. It decreases your heart rate and blood pressure. It constricts your pupils and airways. It stimulates digestion. It activates your immune system. It activates nutrient absorption. So all those nutrients and things that you're taking in can actually go into your bloodstream. When you're in sympathetic, your body's not absorbing nutrients because it's cut it off, because it's sending all the energy where? Sympathetic sends all the energy to your limbs, to your adrenals, to your arms and hands and feet and legs, so you can fight or flight. So all your energy leaves your immune organs and goes to the rest of your body for survival. Even if you're not in survival, here's the thing, even if you're not being chased by a tiger, or you're not being chased by a dog, or you're not in a life and death situation, but your heart rate increases, you get a little sweaty, you get a little anxious, boom, you're in sympathetic just like that. It's the same response because most of us have not been trained on how to master our nervous system. So PNS, parasympathetic, decreases stress hormones. The most important thing here is the immune function. So I learned this many years ago interviewing Dr. Bruce Lipton for one of my documentaries on cancer. And he said, first time I think I heard it put this way was, when the sympathetic nervous system is activated, when fight or flight is activated, it completely turns off your immune system. And I thought, wow. That's revolutionary, because in all my research, I discovered the immune system is the key. It's the key that you need activated, running, working properly all the time, 24/7, or as much as possible, to deal with something like cancer or heart disease or diabetes or chronic inflammatory conditions or Lyme disease or anything, right? The immune system is your internal army. It's your troops. It's your military. It's everything. It goes out, it finds, it targets, it destroys, it eliminates, it cleans up, it gets rid of all the pathogens, viruses, bacteria, cancer cells, abnormal cells, inflammatory cells. It sends out, cytokines, and it's cleaning up. It sends out natural killer cells, and it sends out T cells and B cells. Your lymphatic system is then cleaning all this up, and then it's recycling. Your immune system is so essential. And so think about this. Every time you're stressed, every time you're anxious, every time you're afraid, every time you get triggered by somebody, every time you're worried about the bills, every time you are feeling under pressure, your sympathetic is activated, which means your immune system is turned off. It's down-regulated. Now, the beautiful thing is this is all within our control. I wouldn't share this with you if I didn't actually have the solutions for you, but I want to share with you what's happening biologically first in what's called sympathetic overdrive, which is, you can identify many of these for yourself, but just so you understand the science behind this, when you're in that sympathetic overdrive, when you're in that survival mode, when you're in that state that most people are today, here's what it looks like. Number one, the sympathetic nervous system remains chronically activated, so it keeps the body in that fight or flight, right? And it reduces or completely down-regulates the repair and rest capacity. Then heart rate variability decreases, HRV decreases, which signals your nervous system flexibility is reduced and your resilience to stress is reduced. The HPA axis, which we don't need to get into all the details on that, but it's basically your hormone system that's regulating, cortisol and your adrenals and adrenaline and all the stress hormones. It becomes dysregulated, and it leads to abnormal cortisol patterns that impair your energy, impairs your mood, impairs your sleep, and impairs your immune system. Stress hormones remain elevated or mistimed, and it prevents the body from fully returning to baseline after a stressor. So you have a stressor. Someone cuts you off in traffic. You yell, you get mad, whatever. Okay, you're done. Now, because your nervous system's not in harmony, it can take you, like a healthy nervous system, if I got angry at something, I could be done with it in 20 seconds. I could yell and get angry and be completely over it in 20 seconds without suppressing anything. That's a healthy nervous system. Most people get triggered, angry, upset, sad, and they hold on to it. Not for minutes, hours, days, weeks. How many of you have gotten mad at somebody or something and held on to it for days or weeks or months or years? How many of you are still holding on to something that somebody said to you or did to you 20 years ago? That alone is keeping you in sympathetic overdrive. These are the key things we have to learn about this. Every negative thing that we still hold on to, every judgment that we have. Thank you for being honest, Gwen. She said, that's me. Absolutely. Every negative thing that we hold on to, every time and it doesn't mean you'll never get angry or you'll never get sad or never get upset. No, of course, we're human beings. It's normal. The thing is when you have a healthy, fully functioning nervous system and you have parasympathetic mastery, which I'll teach you now and a lot more later, is something happens in your life. You get bad news, you get an argument, something, and within minutes and eventually seconds, you completely are out of that. And it's not a suppression. It's not like some people, okay, I'm done with this, and they just suppress it. And then what happens? You know what happens when you suppress, 10, 20 of those situations? We all know what happens, right? Then you explode. You've done it yourself or you have a partner or somebody. Thoughts can just make matters worse. Absolutely. And the more you hold on to something, the more it explodes. So what we want to do is actually become masters of our nervous system and our ability to respond, to be responsible. Responsible means the ability to respond to our circumstances in a very healthy and mindful way to keep our nervous system in a harmonious state so that our immune system can actually do what it's supposed to do. So in that sympathetic overdrive, sleep, immune function becomes inefficient, imbalanced, it reduces recovery capacity, and it increases inflammatory signaling. Sympathetic overdrive, the cardiovascular tone stays elevated, increases your heart rate, blood pressure, long-term vascular strain. So who has high blood pressure? Who has increased heart rate, right? Who has these kinds of issues? Who has chronic inflammation? All these things are directly related to a sympathetic overdrive. And we think it's due to not enough supplements. And I can tell you, you can take all the supplements in the world, but if you're in sympathetic overdrive, they're not going to do almost anything. They might help a little bit, but until you get this under control, they do almost nothing. And when you get under control, then you see the power of food and supplements and diet and all these other things. Then you see the real power. But if you're in sympathetic, it doesn't matter how much you pour on from the outside. It's not going into your system, right? It's not getting absorbed, like we talked about. Your brain prioritizes survival over regulation. It increases fear reactivity, reduces focus, clarity, emotional control, and metabolic regulation is disrupted. So which contributes to sugar instability, cravings, fatigue, weight changes. And this is all at the cost of our own health and well-being by being stuck in this fight or flight, this sympathetic overdrive. And the things that cause it, we talked a lot about: chronic stress, anxiety, fear, worry, doubts, bombardment of fearful news, media, reports, getting upset in traffic, bills, financial problems, relationship problems, stress from children, stress from disease or chronic illness, right? How many of you experience any of these on a regular basis? Pretty much everybody, right? Now, how many of you actually think these are the problem? Like once you get rid of these things, then you'll be able to heal and finally be healthy and happy. Get rid of the things that cause stress, like get rid of the children, get them out of the house. Many of your children are already out of the house, but maybe they're moving back in, or they want your grandchildren to live with you now, or get out of that terrible job, or get out, fix your financial problems, or Janice saying, nope, can't get rid of it. Yeah, these things are part of life. That's the reality. These are part of life, right? And we're not going to get rid of. Now, some things we can change. There are some things in our control about our circumstances that we can change. Most of these things are out of our control. But what is in our control? What would you say? Type it in. Or come on, someone wants to come on mute, off mute and say, what is actually in our control? Get rid of the boyfriends. There you go. That's funny. Our breathing, our reactions, environmental. Yeah, some environmental stuff's in our control, but a lot of it's not, right? Watching media, absolutely in our control. Our reactions to these, for me, is my thoughts. State of mind, yes. Right? All of these are all true. These are the things in our control. The number one thing that's in our control, I'll tell you right now. It is our reaction to life's challenges that we're faced with. That's it. We cannot control most of what happens to us in our life, can we? We can't control our partner, our spouse, our boyfriend, our girlfriend, our kids. As hard as you want to try, and the harder you try, how much more stress do you get? You can try as hard as you want, but guess the harder you try, the more stress you have, right? The harder you try to control someone, the more stress and anxiety you have. And at the end of the day, they end up doing what they want to do anyway. You can't control when COVID comes and knocks you out of a job. You can't control when the stock market falls apart and 401ks disappear. You can't control a company letting you go because they have to downsize. Like there's almost everything in our lives, for the most part, that we deal with on a daily basis is out of our control. Completely, right? It's like the serenity prayer. I love the serenity prayer. The serenity prayer. Right? It's like, God, grant me the serenity to change the things that I can change, And to know that, and the wisdom to change the things that I can change, to accept the things I can't change, and the wisdom to know the difference. It's about wisdom, recognizing what you can and can't change. It's about asking for serenity, inner peace. It's about accepting the things in your life that you can't change. Because if you can't change them, what do? You're going to fight them, try and control them, or what's the alternative that actually brings you peace? You accept them. Right? And then you do have some control. So actually being able to change the things that you can change. You might be in an abusive relationship. You can control getting out of that, going away, going to the police, moving, whatever. It might be scary, but you actually have things in your control. A lot of it's out of our control. The biggest thing that's in our control is how we react, how we respond to life's conditions. Am I right? So none of these things are the problem. What is the problem is we never learned how to make your nervous system feel safe while you're dealing with these stressors of life. And once you learn how to train your nervous system to a state of resilience, then any hurricane can come and it'll blow right past you. Is there a pill? A blue magic pill? Is that what you're asking? No, there's no blue magic pill here, except some knowledge, some tools, some support, it's all within you. Yeah, the pill it's within you, and that's what we're going to get into. We're going to share with you a story, this story I call the Hurricane Man, all right? There's a man, he loves his house so much on the shore, he loves being on the beach. He's been living there a long time. One day a hurricane comes along and floods his house. He lives in a hurricane-prone area. He knew it was possible. He stayed anyway. It flooded his house, destroyed the whole thing. He had to rebuild it from scratch, spend all his money, investment, all that stuff. But this time he was smart. He added stilts to it. He thought, all right, a hurricane comes, floods. This time, I'm not going to get flooded. Because he put stilts. Well, a couple years later, another hurricane comes. This time the winds are so strong that it blows the house down. This man's resilient though. He loves being on the beach. He loves that area. He wants to stay, so he rebuilds his house again. This time he puts in reinforcements. He makes it stronger, makes the stilts stronger, goes deeper with the foundations. He says, I'm going to stay. Hurricane comes again this time. No flood. Doesn't blow the house down. It's stronger. It's more stable. It can handle more. And he's sitting there. But a nearby giant tree falls on his house and destroys the house. You would think by this time, this guy's done. Move away. Hurricanes come. By the way, can anybody type in where this guy probably lives? I bet you all can. This time, Florida. There you go. It's Florida. Call him the Florida man. I live in Florida, by the way. And this time the hurricane comes. This isn't my story, but this is actually a lot of people's story. He rebuilds. He removes the closest trees. So now he's got the stilts. It's deeper, it's stronger, it's higher, it's prepared, and he removes the dangers around. Biggest hurricane ever comes. He's sitting there drinking his coffee, his tea, whatever. He's watching it hit the hurricane-proof windows outside. Tears off a few shingles, makes a little damage, but no problem. 95% still good. That's someone who's resilient. That's someone who builds themselves to a state through hard-earned wisdom, through challenging life experiences, like I've been through many in my life: homelessness, addiction, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, in jail when I was younger, I was lost, I was confused, I was depressed, I was suicidal, I had so many challenges, business failures, lawsuits, you name it, divorce, like health problems, so many challenges I've had to face and overcome, like you. Every one of you here has had your own life challenges that you've had to face and overcome. The question we have to ask ourselves is, Are we learning from these, implementing tools and strategies and psychological shifts that actually train our nervous system to be able to handle them like the hurricane man, right? We upgrade. Every time something drastic happens, a hurricane comes in your life, you upgrade. Then another one comes. Oh, you can handle it so much better, but you're upgraded, but you learned something because you weren't upgraded enough. The flood led to, or you weren't thinking about the tree next door. Okay, now I got rid of that tree. I got rid of that thing. Now I'm more resilient. And that's a very real thing. Not only in my life, but in many of the clients' lives I work with, many of the people who go through my programs, the happiness method, for example, you learn to become more resilient. So when the hurricanes of life come, you can stand strong with a smile on your face and still be okay and have more grace and ease in your life, which means your body goes into and stays in that parasympathetic state. So it can be in healing mode constantly. What we want is we want your body to be in healing mode and parasympathetic as often as possible so it can do what it's designed to do and heal itself. Does that make sense? So what's the solution then? In my course, the Happiness Method Masterclass, I'll share a little bit with you in a little bit more about it, but I guide you through very specific strategies and solutions to become like the hurricane man. But I want to give you some massive value on today's session and actually guide you through an experience that you can take away with you and give you some solutions from our ancient ancestors, also backed by modern science, okay? So here's what scientifically, biologically helps our body exit survival mode. Helps us get into what I have been teaching for years called parasympathetic mastery. And this is all about increasing, here's the key takeaway, if you want to write this down, increasing parasympathetic vagal tone. You've probably heard the vagus nerve. Vagal tone means every time we're activating the vagus nerve, we're activating the rest, digest, rejuvenation, and healing mechanisms of the body. So every time we're activating the parasympathetic, the PNS, the water, every time we're activating the water part of our nervous system, we're activating vagal tone. We activate vagal tone, activates parasympathetic, okay? It goes hand in hand. And the more often we do that, the more we stay in that state of healing, rest, and digest. It also brings us a tremendous amount of peace and happiness in our lives. You see, people think, when I'm healthy, I'll be happy. But how many people do you know that are healthy that are very unhappy or depressed or even suicidal or on antidepressants for that matter? See, health doesn't equal happiness, but here's the missing link. I've been teaching this for years and years, and there's so many functional medicine doctors that are now listening to my work and coming out and saying the same thing. I train functional medicine doctors on this. I just trained a whole group of medical doctors at a university recently on a lot of these topics right here. They bring me in to train them, and I'm not even a doctor. It's just my research, experimentation, and working hands-on and with so many clients and patients, and actually spending thousands of hours in this field and having hundreds and hundreds of doctors as my colleagues has given me insight into things that has actually moved the needle in so many people's lives and is moving the needle in many clinicians' practices. And that's why they bring me into universities to train doctors on this specific thing I'm sharing with you right now. And the key is vagal tone. It's parasympathetic activation. It allows your healing and repair and immune balance to activate. So here are some of the things, and I see some of you asking, yes, meditation. One of the things that activates parasympathetic very effectively is specific breathing practices. And these specific breathing practices down-regulate the sympathetic. They increase vagal tone, they increase parasympathetic. It improves heart rate variability, stress resilience, activates the vagal tone, and turns on the immune system. Meditation also trains the circuits in the brain. It reduces fear reactivity while it strengthens your emotional regulation and clarity. And it also activates parasympathetic and turns on healing. So if you think of like the man whose house got flooded, when he put stilts on That's like specific breathing practices. Okay, now he can handle the next hurricanes. And then when he reinforced it for the heavy, strong winds, that's like the meditation practices. Now he can handle a lot more hurricanes. So the breathing and meditation go together hand in hand, and we'll actually do one here shortly. And then restoring circadian rhythm through sleep regulation also normalizes our hormones, supports our immune function, our metabolism, our mood. And one of the core things that actually helps us sleep better is specific breathing and meditation practices. There are some practices I'll share with you that have increased sleep quality, sleep time, reduced sleep latency, anywhere from 15 to 45%. That's massive. Imagine having 45% better quality, deeper, longer sleep, just by doing some breathing and meditation practices. And the sleep is where you're in parasympathetic, which also is activating the healing. And those are numbers that are just looking at one practice at a time. Now imagine if we start combining these practices together. Also, another key is perceived safety. So perceived safety to the nervous system and to the body actually matters more than willpower, because the nervous system responds to signals, not logic. You can't just talk yourself into safety most of the time. You can't talk your nervous system into safety most of the time. As Bruce Lipton also said, 95% of our thoughts and actions come from the subconscious, which means only 5% is coming from the conscious mind. So most of your day-to-day activities, actions, thoughts, emotions are subconscious, which is why we have to do subconscious work as well. Breathing and meditation practices help to release those impressions, but we can do it a lot faster when we start doing some deeper subconscious work and psychological tools that can help with that. So perceived safety, right, means how you feel is determined by your nervous system's conditioning to external stimuli, and how we retrain this through these subconscious beliefs and releasing them, and then getting your nervous system into a state of feeling calm and comfortable, even when the challenges, the hurricanes of life come. I'll give you an example. Public speaking, right? Let's say, they say, studies show, psychologists say that the two greatest fears in life are public speaking and the fear of death. And public speaking actually is more scary for most people than dying. It's kind of interesting. That means when you stand in front of a crowd to speak publicly, who's felt this before? Who's ever done some public speaking and just felt like you would have rather died? Yeah, I see a lot of it. Me too. Not only the first time, but a dozen times after that or more. What happens? Put it in the chat. What does your body do? Tell me the biological responses that happen if you've done public speaking or gotten even in front of a small crowd. What happens? Sweats, heats up, butterflies, shakes, you freeze. What else? Nauseous, heart rate increases. Vision, what? Blurry happened to me, tunnel vision. Crazy heart rate, rapid heartbeat, gut pain. Forgot what you wanted to say, right? You lose clarity. Heart rate increases, nausea, sweat, dry mouth, racing thoughts, right? Faint, yeah, yeah, definitely. Not in the stomach. Actually, the first time I did public speaking, I was in a crowd of like 12 people in a living room, and I had like 5 minutes to present something. And as I'm standing there, sitting, waiting for my turn, my hands are sweating. Everything that you said here, knots in the stomach. It wasn't butterflies. It was like there was little minions in there, like beating away at my organs with hammers or something. I was gushing sweat. I was so nervous. I was so afraid. It was like I was gonna die. That's how I felt. Felt like I was dying. Tunnel vision. Everything went black. I had no idea what I said. And I came out and I just thought, oh my God, what just happened? And my whole nervous system. So what are we describing here? Hyperventilating, right? Overwhelmed, exactly. What are we describing? Which nervous system, which part of our nervous system are we describing? SNS. The fire, right? Fight, flight, or freeze. Increase heart rate, blood pressure, dilate pupils, dilate airways, adrenaline, sweating, And remember what happens when we're in that state. Digestion stops, immune function stops, healing stops, nutrient absorption stops, right? Now, you don't have to go to that extreme. You don't have to go to public speaking for your SNS to be activated. Most people's SNS is activated at a low grade. It's like a chronic inflammatory low grade fire that's always burning, always burning. When you're having issues recovering, you're having issues with body repair, you're having issues with chronic diseases, you're having issues with these challenges, with your body actually doing what it's meant to do, which is heal, repair, rejuvenate, thrive, almost guaranteed you're stuck in sympathetic overdrive. So we've got to get into parasympathetic. And one other key here is social connection and emotional regulation. These two together lower stress hormones, lowers inflammation. So being part of a like-minded, safe community that you can connect with, you can talk with, you can share ideas with, you can be a part of. Having community in your life is essential. People that you can actually trust, not people that you go and judge each other and judge other people. That just activates more SNS. People that you can actually, let your hair down a little bit, hang out. Who's got a friend or family member that you can call and you can count on them. You can share, you can help each other. Now, to some degree, that can activate sympathetic if you're not careful, because you just start complaining, right? There's a difference between sharing and letting some steam off and just getting into complaining and judging. Because the deeper you go into deep complaining and judging, the more you're activating that sympathetic. And you felt it, right? Your heart, it's addictive. The sympathetic nervous system is addictive if you're not aware. And if you're not aware, you will become aware after this masterclass, I guarantee it. Next time you're in a conversation, you're in a situation, something happens, pay attention to how your body feels, right? You start judging, blaming, you're complaining with somebody. Notice how your heart rate, actually you'll notice, oh, I'm speeding up. Oh, I'm feeling a little excited. I got a little bit of adrenaline going. You might even get a little tiny bit of sweat on your hands, right? You get that little bit of excitement. It's like, what is this? And you're complaining about somebody or blaming or judging okay. You'll feel it at a low grade. You'll also feel it as it gets more and more intense. It's really easy to feel, like the example of a public speaking. But the more you can become in tune with it and aware of it, and then these tools I'll teach you now, and I'll teach you also in the happiness method, for those of you who want to take that masterclass, we'll go much deeper there. These will make you resilient. So when that hurricane comes, you can stand it. But having that social connection and having the ability to regulate emotionally, and then going into the subconscious and healing the subconscious beliefs, releasing these limiting beliefs, that's your trifecta right there. And guess what happens? Your immune system skyrockets. Does that make sense? Okay, so how do we get out of this sympathetic overdrive? We got to reset the inner operating system that runs your thoughts, your emotions, your immune system, and your well-being. We know the stress is not only stored in the nervous system, it's stored in your breathing patterns, it's stored in your tissues of your body, it's stored in your subconscious memory. If your inner operating system doesn't change, the same year you had just repeats, even if the goals look different, right? It's like the same, you have goals, you have things you want to do, but just keeps repeating again and again and again, maybe even getting worse if we don't change that inner operating system. Willpower only gets you so far. Willpower collapses when you're in survival mode. So we have to get you into self-regulation, get your nervous system feeling safe and resilient. And then we can implement habits and discipline that makes your willpower activate you to be successful at anything you want to do, whether that's health goals or otherwise. Okay, so let's go into a little guided experience. Okay? Everybody want to experience a little bit about what we're talking about here? Okay, so I don't know if anybody's driving. Hopefully not. If you are driving, you can do the breath portion, but obviously don't do the meditation portion. We're going to do a little bit of breathing practice and a little bit of meditation and give you guys an experience of this. But yeah, if you're driving, obviously don't do the meditation. Come do the recording after. but sitting in a nice, comfortable place, distractions off, music off, media off, phone off, ideally, right? Sit nice and comfortable, spine erect. I'm going to guide you through a very basic, one of the most basic breathing practices. It comes from ancient India called Samvriti. Samvriti. I'll put it here in the chat. Samvriti. You may have heard of it as box breathing. Samvriti comes from thousands of years old, from India, from our ancient wisdom keepers. And it basically means box breathing. There's a few variations of it. We're going to do the variation where we're breathing in and out through the nose only. So you'll close your mouth. And we'll breathe in for a count of 4. We will hold for a count of 4. We'll breathe out for a count of 4, and we'll hold for a count of 4. So we're making a box. 4, 4, 4, 4. Now, this is one of the most basic, and I'll teach you more that will even be more impactful. But I want to guide you through this experience now. Why? Because even some of the most basic practices like this have been shown to reduce stress, sympathetic arousal by up to 40%, to increase parasympathetic vagal tone and heart rate variability by up to 35%, to up to 25% faster sleep onset and improved sleep stability. And that's just practicing for a few minutes. With a little bit more time, it's even been shown to lower anxiety by up to 40% within minutes, right? And so this is just one practice we can do. But we're talking about activating the parasympathetic. We're talking about vagal tone. We're talking about improving sleep. And there's a lot of studies on this. I'm happy to share these with people after if you're interested. But enhances heart-breath synchronization, improving cardiovascular efficiency, emotional regulation, stimulates vagal sensory pathways, projects to the brainstem, reduces stress signaling in the body, gets you out of that survival mode, right? It can increase baroflex sensitivity, which is blood pressure, right? Heart rate, stress reactivity, reduce limbic threat reactivity. The limbic system feels like there's a threat when you enter a room or a certain kind of person comes, or a phone call or something, and you feel that nervous system response, that threat, that immediately puts you into SNS. Well, doing a practice like this, even just a few minutes at a time, will retrain your brain and your nervous system to get out of that fight or flight mode. So we'll do this, and then I'll guide you through a short, maybe 10-minute healing meditation as well, okay? Sound good? All right. So, sitting comfortably, spine erect. You can have your palms face up on your lap. You can even do a mudra called chin mudra. Looks like this. Just helps to concentrate the energies in the body. If you feel ready, you can close your eyes. We'll take one big deep breath in, filling up your belly. And let it out through the mouth. Take another big deep breath in through the nose. Fill up your belly, your lungs, your throat, and let it out with a sigh through the mouth. One more big deep breath in. And let it all out. I'll guide you through about 8 or 10 rounds of Samvriti, box breathing. So let's take a transition breath in through the nose, back out through the nose, and breathing through the nose. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, one more, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, and relax. Eyes closed. Observing your mind, observing your body. When you're ready, you can open your eyes, and we'll just take 1 minute and just chat in the box how you feel now. From that simple, just a couple minutes of some box breathing. Calmer, relaxed, relaxed, calm, excellent, calm, more centered, less pain, calm. Calm and relaxed. Yeah, to your question, if a person has heart problems, can this exercise hurt them? Not to my knowledge. In fact, this seems to be excellent for regulating blood pressure. I feel my blood just running smoothly through my body. But if you have any questions about breathing practices or this one specifically, you can reach out to your doctor and ask them. Sleepy, calmer, empowered, calm and relaxed, calm, more centered, less pain. Beautiful. Yes, you can see how it starts to calm the system down quite quickly. And now let's do a meditation. So again, sitting comfortably, spine erect, eyes closed. Let's take a deep breath in and let it go. Take another deep breath in and let go. Bringing your attention to your heart. Just bring a gentle focus to the area around your chest, around your heart. Begin to think of somebody or something that you can be grateful for. Bring that sense of gratitude. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's somebody who's been helping you or supporting you in your life. Bring them into your heart. See if you can visualize them or just sense them in your heart. Maybe even smiling at them. Feel grateful. Feel what that gratitude feels like for that person. Take a deep breath into your heart and let it go. Let's bring another person or situation that you can feel grateful for. Maybe it's a lesson you learned. Maybe it's a challenge you overcame. Maybe it's something you're going through right now that you know is helping you become better, helping you become wiser, stronger, healthier. Bring that into your heart, bring a smile to it, and feel a deep sense of gratitude. Let's take a deep breath in and let go. Now turn to your own body. Your body's a miracle. It's a gift from God, from the divine, from the universe, from nature. Your body's working 24/7 to keep you alive. Yeah, your body's had some challenges. It's had some difficulties. It's had some problems. But it's still here. It's still chugging along. Turn inward. Turn a big smile inward to your own body. Feel grateful for your body, for bringing you this far in life, for working 24/7 to try and keep you alive. Even when we put the wrong food in our bodies, even when we don't treat our bodies well, even when we abuse our body's still working 24/7 to try and keep us alive. Feel a deep sense of gratitude for your body and love for your body. You might even visualize giving your body a hug, smile, maybe even some tears of joy or gratitude. Deeper connection you have with your own body, deeper love and gratitude you have with your own body, the more it can communicate with you and support you on your personal journey, your own spiritual journey here on the planet. As Jesus said, the body is a temple. Body is a temple and the spirit dwells within. As all the great spiritual teachers and sages have taught us, this body is our vessel. Let's treat it with love and kindness. Let's have gratitude for our body. Take another deep breath in to your heart and let it go. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes slowly, gently, coming back to the room. Slowly moving your eyes, looking around. Notice how you feel. Notice your mind. Type it in the chat how you feel right now, or how that short experience was for you. What did you notice? What shifted when your body softened? What kind of year becomes possible for you? What kind of week? What kind of month? What kind of year becomes possible when you are living more from this state more often? Able to calm, relax, sleep, happy, peace, love, and gratitude, very at peace. I feel great. a more peaceful, calm one. Yes, grateful I'm alive. I have joy, gratitude. Alice began to see my colors and could feel energy move in my hands. Megan, happy. Yeah, imagine what kind of life you can have, what kind of year you can have, what kind of just day will look like. I want to cry. Yeah, cry. It's okay. Let the emotions out. Melanie, if I can live in a state of loving my body, would reduce self-criticism. Yeah, and when we reduce self-criticism, what happens? We get into that parasympathetic, we get into that healing state, but we also become much more joyful to be around, and we become more pleasant for others, and we become more resourceful and helpful in the world too, right? When we don't criticize ourselves so much, then we can show up for others in a big way. We heal, yes. All of it, absolutely. And as I said, most people think they'll be happy once they're healthy, but we know that's not true, right? It's the opposite. When you're happy, when you're content, when you're calm, when you're at peace, then you will be healthy. Then your body can heal. See, contentment, inner peace, a calm nervous system, happiness, these are the solutions you've been looking for. This is the solution so many millions of people are looking for, and they don't know it exists. I've been working tirelessly for years to get this kind of information out to people. I had to package it in different ways to try and, because people want the next magic blue pill, the next quick fix, the next device, and those things are good. The supplements, the red light, all those things are good. The thing is they're the very tip of the iceberg. What we're doing here now, and if you commit to doing this going forward, you commit to working with me going forward, what we're working on is the entire iceberg under the ocean. That's what parasympathetic mastery is. That's what mastering your mind is. That's what all these practices do, is they build the foundation so that when you use the tip of the iceberg, when you're using the supplements, the red light, the protocols, the other therapies, those things can work so much better. But we've got to work at the core of the foundation, the core of that iceberg. And that's what we're doing here. I put together a series called The Missing Link for Cancer. Many of you know that. Many of you came to me through that work. We actually reached millions of people through that and had incredible stories and life-changing reports that came from that. I remember talking with Lisa Nelson, who went through my programs and went through that series and went through some of our coaching. She was sent home to die. They said her husband already died of cancer a number of years prior. She had stage 4 tumors wrapped all through her spine. They sent her to die, and they said, "Oh, do chemotherapy, radiation. That's about all we can do." She did 1 or 2 rounds, and it was so bad for her. She said, "No, I'm not doing it." She was by herself in a little cabin in the mountains in New Mexico, in so much pain, couldn't get out of bed. She couldn't live life anymore. She almost didn't want to live. Who would? She found my program. She got to the root. Yeah, she did all the supplements and diet and stuff, but what she talked to me about the most was she got her nervous system back online. She got out of that fight or flight. She got out of sympathetic, and she started doing these practices, the meditations, the nervous system calming practices, the things that we teach in the happiness method. She started doing this as her foundation, Qigong and gentle movements and building her energy back into her body. And then she's crying to me on a Zoom call. We're both crying because it's like hearing her story was so inspiring. Here she is now, she's got her whole life back. She's riding her from not being able to get out of bed in so much pain to riding her mountain bike, and she's in her 60s or 70s, to riding her mountain bike through the mountains of New Mexico. I mean, give it up for Lisa Nelson. I mean, incredible. And her tumors were regressing, her cancer was regressing. It didn't completely go away, but she got her life back. And that's what it's about. It's like you may or may not have the disease. It may stay with you or may go away. Your problems may continue, but you can live with so much more peace and contentment and joy and happiness and vitality. And then the chances of that illness going away have so much more power. Does that make sense? So we have a lot of stories and like that. I know we're actually running out on time, but if you permit me, I'd love to share more about the Happiness Method Masterclass, because I created this program specifically to help you retrain your nervous system and really start activating that greater health and vitality. Would you guys like to hear more about it? So we can take what you've learned here today and actually get a system in place and tools and some more powerful breathing practices and guided meditations that can start retraining your nervous system. And then we actually go into the psychological principles, and we go into the ancient teachings, and then we also go into the science behind it, but then starting to eliminate those subconscious beliefs that are preventing your healthy habits from sticking in the first place, right? Yeah, I'd love to find out more. Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about it right now, and then we'll wrap up. You know, what we touched on just now, it's like, this is not just a technique, it's a state. It's a state of being. And the challenge isn't accessing it once, it's returning to it again and again, and retraining your nervous system, and then getting at the root of these underlying emotional challenges that keep your system stuck in that fight or flight, right? And so that's where some ongoing additional support will really help, which is why I created the Happiness Method Masterclasses, so that we can go deeper over 12 modules where we can start retraining your nervous system. We can start thinking through some of these things that are preventing the body from healing, and we can get you into that parasympathetic state a lot more often. Because the more often you're in it, the more your body's in that healing state. Does that make sense? So maybe I'll put it in the chat here. You can go take a look at the Happiness Method. We have a special offer for everybody here on the live class. If you go to thehappinessmethod.com/, I think it's special. Maybe I'll put it in the chat. You can open that up in your browser window, thehappinessmethod.com/special, and it'll take you to a page like this. And basically, you can read through all the details and all that. What I just want to show you right now is the 12 modules, where each one, we get to go into much deeper what we talked about today with some real practical solutions for you. Module 1 is about why chasing happiness actually is making people miserable and how we activate that inner healer. It's a very counterintuitive psychological and spiritual understanding, but it changes everything. Module 2 is we get into the invisible forces, the hidden roots of suffering, how to uproot them, and how it's sabotaging our peace, and then how to really start calming our nervous system. Module 3, we get into the body's emergency exit from stress. So you can actually start healing. We start getting into some deeper and even more powerful breathwork practices you can do in a few minutes a day. Also, we get into energy, how to have more energy, what's draining your energy, how to let go of those energy drains, and then how to utilize your energy to activate more healing in your body. We also talk about food and which foods are more energy draining and which ones are more healing and bring more energy to your body. Module 5, talk about some of the myths about meditation, and then actually guide you through some meditation, simple meditation you do every day that starts to get you into that inner healing state that you experience today, but a little bit more time with it. We start getting into emotions and releasing some of these stuck emotions and limiting beliefs we talked about. We get into food more specifically for vitality and for healing. We get into some of these deeper beliefs around I'm not enough, and some of these subconscious beliefs that are actually keeping us stuck in that sympathetic state and how to uproot them. We get into the power of consistency and how this simple shift actually is so much more powerful than motivation or anything like that, and how this has completely changed my life and our clients' lives. A specific mindset that's helped me basically overcome every challenge in my entire life. I call it the SOM method, and I take you through that powerful mindset shift. And then these 2 bonus modules, which is 2 things that I found over 20 years of my own experience in doing self-help and personal development, why a lot of self-help programs actually don't work long-term. If you've ever done self-help, personal development, self-growth, and then you find things not sticking, it's because of these 2 core reasons, and then what can do to actually help what you're learning stick and actually bring that genuine peace, that bring that genuine happiness, that genuine healing from within. And then module 12 is a actual daily practice, powerful breathing practice with guided meditation. That when you do this every single day, this is a 28-minute routine that will absolutely get you into that state and give you so much more resilience and so much more healing and vitality. So there's a lot of details on this page about the program, all the bonuses. There's over $1,000 in bonuses we put together for you guys, including a community aspect to it, a daily practice tracker. We've put together workbooks and downloads. These are video modules, but you can listen to on audio as well. We put together a complete herbal wellness collection for nerves, for teas, for herbal recipe guides, for adaptogens, all these powerful herbal medicines for healing and rejuvenation. We put together what we call Sanctuary Toolkit, which is a nervous system safe home guide, food and nervous system safety, intentional rituals, digital boundaries, plants and nature, how to improve sleep, how to improve your circadian rhythm, creating a very safe environment so your nervous system can get into that healing state. And also our friend Brian Baisley is giving his entire Live Long and Thrive Summit, some of the top health speakers on the planet. And then our program, Stress Resilience. Actually, this is our colleagues' program, Stress Resilience Mastery. So all these bonuses come with it, plus my book I give you, and 60-day guarantee. So you do the program, anytime within 60 days, you get 100% money back guarantee. This is valued at over $1,600. And for all you guys on this event right now, it's only $297. So all the details are on this page. This is only available at this price for a very limited time. My team is managing all that, so they'll be sending out the details. But these bonuses go away, and the price increases, I think, in 4 days. We have to move on, and then we're doing our next program. So you have lifetime access to this when you order it, so you can take it at your own speed. Sorry, I'm scrolling through this quickly because I wanted to show you everything that's included. You get all modules, all 12 modules, the digital workbooks, all the bonuses. But yeah, you can go through a module a day. You go through all 12 modules in one day. You go through it over 12 weeks, however you want to. But we put together this very special price for you. And I put the link in here, thehappinessmethod.com/special. And I would love to serve you. I would love to serve you inside there. I know it will help you tremendously. We've already had dozens and dozens of people going through it and giving us feedback saying it has completely shifted their entire life. And it's just a single masterclass with the bonuses. It is helping people transition out of that sympathetic, out of that fight or flight, out of that survival into a calm, centered parasympathetic, so that the body can do what it's designed to do, which is heal and rejuvenate and repair itself. And so as we kind of wrap up, I have some thoughts for you to consider. First is, you don't need to survive another year, right? You don't need to try harder. So many of us have been trying harder and harder and harder, and what kind of results are we getting? It's not always about trying harder. In fact, sometimes that's worse, right? See, this year can actually be different for you because we don't necessarily need to force it. What we do is we change the state that we're living from. In my own experience, I changed my state, and guess what? My body started healing. I had 5 tears in this shoulder. I was going to need surgery. I couldn't lift it this far above my head. Now I can do a back bend in yoga completely with my arms like this, back bend with 0 pain. I could not lift my shoulder. Why? Once I got out of that sympathetic and I got my body doing everything I'm teaching you here, the concepts, the philosophies, the breath work, the meditation, the gentle exercise, the high energy types of foods, all the things that we're sharing here. Once I got out of that sympathetic, then my body could actually start healing itself, right? And that's what we want. Whether you have injury or pain or you have chronic health conditions. But at the same time, it's not just about healing the body, right? It's like, don't we all want to be a little bit happier? Wouldn't we all like to be a little bit more content, a little bit more peaceful, a little bit more connected, and be able to share that with others, with our loved ones, with our family members, with our community, with our society? You know, when you're happier, you're more peaceful, you're more content, think about what that does for those around you. Think about what it does to contribute towards a more peaceful, a more content society. It makes a huge difference. It really does. So thriving, when we're talking about going from surviving to thriving, thriving is not more hustle, perfect habits, forcing positivity. It's about feeling safe in your own body. It's about calm clarity in your mind. It's about having emotional resilience, becoming that hurricane man or that hurricane woman. And it's about having more meaning and direction and centeredness in your own life, right? So when the nervous system shifts out of that survival mode and the body naturally moves towards healing and clarity and creativity, then you're on the right track. Then you're headed in a good direction. And that's what I wish for you. And I wish for you an amazing rest of your day and week and month and year. And we're here for you to support you along the way. If you have questions, you can reply to any one of our emails. You're on our email list, so just hit reply. Our team will take great care of you. We're here to support and serve you and help you live your best, healthiest, happiest life possible. Again, my name is Nathan Crane, founder of the Global Happiness Project, which is the new name of our company. I'm so excited to bring all this to you, and I hope to serve you, see you inside the Happiness Method, and look forward to connecting with you again soon. Have a beautiful, blessed day, okay? Thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Thank you.